Hola. Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Mindy. I'm Mindy, and I serve gratefully as one of the vocalists on our music team and on our house band, Stolen Thunder. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. Welcome to everyone on our virtual church campus. We know that many of our members and friends are choosing to join us virtually because of concerns about the Delta variant. Welcome to everyone here on our Alluvial Ave church campus. We are truly one congregation in many places. If this makes you happy, please type the letter H in the chat box on our virtual campus and give me a hoop and a holler on our Alluvial Ave campus. I want to personally welcome our special guest, Mayor Jerry Dyer, and his wife, Diane. We are honored to have you with us today for Reverend Tim's sermon, Why I Hugged Jerry Dyer. We especially appreciate the gift of your time because typically on Sunday morning you would be nourishing your own spirit with your congregation, New Covenant Community Church, where you serve as a deacon. As the spouse of an officer in the Fresno Police Department who served under your leadership for many years, it gives me a personal joy to have you here with us. Can we offer a warm round of applause to Mayor Dyer? Thank you so much. We acknowledge that our Alluvial Ave campus sits within the traditional homelands of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over the Central Valley. Unitarian Universalists have a shared belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We also believe everyone and everything on this planet is interconnected, which means we have a religious responsibility to prioritize and protect the most vulnerable among us. This is one reason we've worn masks since the first days of the pandemic. As we say each week, you and your mask are welcome here. We welcome you no matter your race, culture of origin, age, spiritual background, or religious beliefs. You are welcome if you are lesbian, gay, bi, trans, questioning, or non-binary. We welcome you no matter your disabilities, the amount of money in your pocket, or your level of education. You are welcome with or without documentation, sin y con papeles. No human being is illegal at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. Todos son venidos aquí. Now by chat box or in person on Alluvial Avenue or in the silent sacredness of our individual hearts, let us take a moment to safely greet one another.
Tim. Good morning.
As we prepare to begin this shared time of recommitting to a vision of love, of inclusion, of hope, and of transformation, let's allow the sound of the tingsha to carry us to that quiet place within us that knows the touch of love. And Mr. Mayor, this prelude is a gift for you.
out of the ruins and rubble, out of the smoke, out of our night of struggle, can we see a ray of hope? One pale thin ray, reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, I said we can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but a city built by you and me instead. We may not reach the ending, but we can start slowly but truly mending, brick by brick, heart by heart. Now, maybe now, we start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, I said we can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but a city built by you and me instead. When your trust is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, I said we can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but a city built by you and me instead. By all of us instead.
Good morning. Buenos dias. It's been a while. My name is Troy Polnitz, and I serve gratefully as both a member of the Board of Trustees and a member of the Worship Arts team. If you are on our virtual campus and have a candle or chalice, bring it close as we'll be lighting it soon. Today, in this moment, the lighting of the chalice symbolizes a spirit renewed. A reboot or refresh is sometimes exactly what the body needs most, especially when we are feeling overwhelmed or downright defeated. Feeling overwhelmed or defeated is something that, unfortunately, I think many of us have grown accustomed to. It has almost become the norm to respond to anyone checking in on you with, oh, you know, just another day in paradise. This facetious metaphor reveals exactly what it's supposed to. Things in my life are just not right. A phrase that was once used in friendly banter has now morphed into an everyday reality, and specifically for that reason, we must learn the art of renewal. When it is reclaiming your center through meditation, or diving headfirst into the plot of a murder mystery, renewal is necessary. Without renewal and rejuvenation, we continue to scoop for water in a well that has long since gone dry. retrieving only mud. May this chalice lighting today allow us all to refresh, rejuvenate, and renew our beautiful spirits. And in that spirit, Tim, would you light the chalice in our Alluvial Avenue sanctuary while those on our virtual campus light their own chalice or candle? Our song of praise is a wonderful summary of the all-inclusive welcome that is at the heart of our Unitarian Universalist religious tradition. As we like to say, whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. Let us rise now in body or spirit and join in singing, "You Are Welcome Here." If you are unvaccinated in our Alluvial Avenue campus, please sing in the silence of your heart.
4. If you are searching, come on in. We're all on a journey that starts within. If you got a burden, come lay it on down. Raise up your voices as we gather around. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. If you are joyful or you're concerned, come share your story. The chalice flame burns. If your heart is broken, if you've been disowned, come join our circle. You are not alone. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. If you are running, you got the right to seek sanctuary, guided by the light. If you hear that calling, come join the fight. Marching for justice, candles lit in the night. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
I invite us to remain standing as Troy leads us in the covenant of this congregation.
Please join me. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia, la búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Habitar juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y servir a la humanidad juntos con el fin de que todas las almas puedan crecer en armonía con lo divino. Esto es lo que pactamos unos con otros. We affirm that love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for its truth sacrament, and its service, its prayer. We strive to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end, that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Please be seated. About our breath, beloved Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh says, feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Conscious breathing is my anchor. In that spirit, I invite us to together take a breath in, breathing in peace. We hold a moment. We breathe out love. And again, breathing in together, we breathe in peace. We breathe out love. And one last time together, the gift of the breath coming into the body, breathing in peace, filling every cell of the body with peace. We transform it. We breathe out love. How good it feels to take a moment and just breathe together, to be together, to stop the racing and the hurry. I invite your breath to carry you back over the last 7 days, the last week, the gift that you were given of life. And as you breathe, a question for reflection. How in the last week were you part of the world's love and not its hate? As we breathe together, we breathe into this moment in the sanctuary, both virtual and on Alluvial Ave, creating space for all that we've carried with us today, all of our joys, all of our sorrows, our concerns, and yes, our gratitudes. Some of us stopped at the small table at the entrance to the Alluvial Sanctuary and wrote down what was in their heart or mind on this day. And on our virtual campus, we invite you to just type in the chat box a personal joy, concern, sorrow, or gratitude. Lisa is feeling joyful that the amazing Jamie has quit smoking. It has been 5 days, 12 hours, and 38 minutes. Jamie, yay! Cheyenne has a joy and a gratitude, wanted to report good news. I am safely, temporarily at my mom's new place. Grateful to be able to bring a dear friend, Rita, to the service today. I'm glad it's a better week for you, Cheyenne. Bernadette, a gratitude and a joy. Bernadette says, I got to have dinner at the spaghetti factory on Thursday night. Hey. Tanisha is celebrating a joy. Her third nephew was born, and Luis Carlos is feeling grateful because he did well on an exam. And Babs, you brought big news for us today. Today is Saul's 92nd birthday. Saul, could you rise? Let's sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Saul. Happy birthday to you. And if you're on our virtual campus and you want to honor Saul, just type the letter S in the comment box, the letter S. We have some other celebrations this morning. To our earth-based and pagan members and friends, we wish you a blessed Mabon. the autumnal equinox, when that moment we were again at that place where there's perfect balance between night and day, light and dark, before the light begins to wane once more. The wheel of the year has turned again. If you're celebrating, type M for Mabon in the comment box. Also this week, we celebrated Bisexual Awareness Week, and we continue to celebrate National Hispanic and Latinx Heritage Month, and we celebrate the rich cultural and societal contributions of persons who identify as Latina, Latino, Latinx, or Hispanic. And we are also celebrating that we're just that much closer to a vaccination for those under the age of 12, hopefully by the end of October. As in life itself, when joy and grief mix, this week we grieve and we're horrified. The KNP complex and the Windy Fire continue to threaten and destroy parts of the Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park. Trees as old as the Roman Empire. Trees that give us a feeling of eternity and endless time. Just one more painful proof that the science of climate change is an undeniable truth. And if you'd like to offer appreciation for the almost 4,000 firefighters who put their life at risk to protect nature and humanity, you can type FF for firefighter in the chat box. And here in the sanctuary, also, unfortunately horrific this week were images of the U.S. border agents on horseback chasing and whipping black immigrants and refugees who were fleeing violence and the damages of the storm in Haiti, some of whom were children. Those images this week connected us to images of black bodies being brutalized on slave plantations, horse riding state police beating peaceful demonstrators in Selma and so many other cities, and the slaughter of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and so many other unarmed black people reaching back over 400 years. I spoke out against the last presidential administration, and I will do for this current one. This is an egregious human rights violation, and the presidential administration should be called out for their immoral treatment of vulnerable black refugees. If you agree, please type BLM in the chat box. Closer to home, we remember our beloveds, those who need our extra prayers, our thoughts, our good wishes, who are unable to be with us. Glenda R., Pat M., Richard B., who will have heart surgery tomorrow. Rich, we're holding you in our thoughts and prayers and directing much love to you. Robin G., who continues his slow decline in the care of hospice. We think of Al G., Bill N., and on this morning, Molly K. has asked that we think of her, hold us in our prayers in light and in love for Molly. And so, for all that has been shared, for all that we hold in the sacred silence of our own hearts, and for all those who on this Sunday morning have no one to remember them, no one to speak their name with gentleness or care, we light our candle of community. And as is our custom, we light a second candle now for the over 4.79 million citizens of the world who have lost their lives in this pandemic. We also remember the 685,000 here in this United States. The death toll now tops that of the flu pandemic of 1918-1919. We have a custom here at this church of lifting up the name of someone who's passed into the mysteries of death on the first anniversary of their death. Today we honor Neil Horsley, who left us a year ago. Yesterday, a small group of family gathered in gratitude in our memorial garden. Gratitude for Neil's love of children, for his sense of humor, for his steadfast hardworking ethic, his dedicated nature, his warm and engaging ability to relate to anyone and everyone. He shares that with you, Mayor Dyer. Gratitude for his love of family and his special connection to his dog, Penny, and his devotion to his wife of so many years. He was a beloved church leader and did much work on the old church campus on Millbrook and also this church campus. My favorite morning memory of Neil was him walking Penny on the sidewalk along Alluvial Ave, just right out front of the church, and that's him doing it right there in that picture. We celebrate and honor the long and meaningful life of Neil. And in that spirit, let's sing one of our beloved hymns, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, living light, the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cantaré tu compasión. Sopla al volar, tú en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arraígame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Our words of reflection and prayer come from the loving and eloquent heart of the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. Reverend Johnson was a beloved elder of Unitarian Universalism. She hailed from Jamaica by way of the world. Let us join together in reflection or prayer. Let us pray. Spirit of life, fuente de amor, God of our own heart's understanding. May we remember we are one, somos uno, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits here
not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. Viaje juntos. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one. Somos uno. Questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, being forgiven, paying attention, asking questions, haciendo preguntas, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. Somos uno. We are one.
Thank you, brother. When did brother become my call sign? When did brother become a way to connect, to earn my trust? A word like brother is usually followed up with some hip handshake and probably some other associated slang words that you don't typically use. Who else do you call that nickname? I mean, you barely know me. And suddenly I'm your brother. That makes no sense. But I'll ask again, who else do you call brother? Do you even actually call your own brother brother? The short and simple answer is no. Your intentions were to make a connection. But what you've done is perpetuated a microaggression. A microaggression that for far too long, black people have had to bear. For far too long, we've had to bite our lip when being addressed in that way, or even worse, laugh it off like it doesn't even matter. Oh, it matters. It matters because you use that word to compensate for a bond you know that does not exist. Could one exist? Sure. But creating a bond takes trust building, confidence, and love. If you calling me brother is your way of saying I'm down with your people, the blacks, then listen closely. A bond takes time. The bond between black people in many of their communities have been severed, bandaged, and resevered time and time again. It's almost funny to think that a word such as brother would make a black person feel better about you asking them, hey, you know those collard greens that you have in your grocery basket there? How do you make them? I've just been trying and I can't get the ingredients just right. Some may ask, well, what's the big deal? I can't ask a question? Oh, you can ask. But when your questions call for black people to explain their customs that are often bred from the very oppression they were forced to accept, you may not receive the answer you're looking for. Depleted. You know how when you play a fighting video game and every time your opponent lands a punch or a kick, your health meter depletes? Every time someone calls me brother, makes a joke about me being the black man in the mask in the COVID era, or asks me if I like my fried chicken spicy or regular, and the answer is always spicy. Come on now. My health meter has damn near evaporated. You ask what can be done? I say absolutely nothing at all. What is done is done. But how can we move forward? Listen. Just stop talking. Judging, assuming, and just listen. You cannot reduce a person to the color of their skin, their upbringing, their political party, or any other type of one-dimensional interpretation. Spend the time to listen, and you may discover that I prefer dude. Not brother. I'm from Southern California, baby. Thank you.
Two, three, four. We're going to demo the chorus for you once and then do it again together. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Everybody together. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand. Love and only love can heal this broken land. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Amen. Please be seated. You can clap. Go ahead. Babs just read the sermon title. Why I Hugged Jerry Dyer. So the first thing you need to know is that when it comes to COVID-19 precautions, I have been incredibly conservative. In fact, it's probably the only time this religiously liberal minister has ever been conservative. As your minister, I knew that I would be entering your homes if I was needed for pastoral care when someone was dying. So I wanted to keep you safe as possible. From March 2020 forward, I'd always worn masks inside and out with no exceptions, hand sanitizing constantly with no exceptions, practicing social distancing with rare exceptions, inside and out, even after being fully vaccinated. So that means as somebody who lives alone, from March 2020 forward, social distancing meant no hugs ever, even after being fully vaccinated. I knew the Delta variant was coming and didn't want to accidentally pass it on to a congregant or a staff member, and so that meant no hugs at all. Now, maybe that was over the top, but I wanted to err on the side of caution. Now, if you had told me a year ago that my first pandemic hug would be Fresno's former police chief and current mayor, I would have told you were kind of wacky. After all, I serve as minister of the church who asked the ACLU to sue Fresno County for removing us as a polling place because we refused to take down our Alluvial Ave Black Lives Matter banners on Election Day. Those banners proclaim Unitarian Universalist religion's belief in the inherent worth and dignity of black people and other people of color. But Black Lives Matter is also a statement that challenges a long history of police violence towards black people. Our banners are critical of policing practices and biases that far too often see black bodies as expendable, something to be feared, or something to be destroyed. I was also an advocate for the gang violence mitigation program known as Advanced Peace, a program that then Police Chief Dyer opposed. We were opposite ends there. There were several other decisions, and I think you know some of them, that you made as police chief that I disagreed with. I think it's safe to say, Mayor Dyer, that you and I stood on opposite ends of many political and religious spectrums. So nothing prepared me for the Jerry Dyer I experienced in June. A quick recap. Fresno County voted to fly the LGBTQ pride flag at City Hall during Pride Month, something that would have been an historic first in Fresno. Republican Mayor Dyer spoke out strongly against flying the pride flag, saying the decision was, quote, not inclusive and will divide our community at a time when we need more unity more than ever. He then proposed flying the flags 2 blocks away from his office at a hastily created Unity Park, out of sight, out of mind, although I know that was not your intention. There was an outcry of anger, of hurt, and quite frankly, of horror from the LGBTQ community at this proposed second-class treatment by the mayor. Now, Mayor Dyer could have dug in his heels. He could have done what his conservative Republican financial supporters and evangelical Christian ministers advised. Get that flag, that symbol of immorality and godlessness, as far away from the sanctity of City Hall as possible. But Mayor Dyer did not do that. Instead, Mayor Dyer, you did something that is the hallmark of successful leaders. And it's something Troy mentioned. You listened. LGBTQ individuals and organizations reached out to him. He listened to stories from LGBTQ folks, stories of hurt, of pain, exclusion, bullying, violence, and I'm sure even death. A group of LGBTQ supportive clergy contacted the mayor's office, and we asked him for a meeting. That request was quickly accepted. By the time the mayor met with our clergy group at noon on June 4th, he had already heard countless stories. His heart was already transformed by the life-affirming pride flag-raising ceremony at Fresno City College, led by the students and their families, Pastor Reagan from the Big Red Church, and college president Dr. Carol Goldsmith, an out lesbian. By the time Mayor Dyer got to our noon clergy meeting, his mind had already been changed. But still, Mr. Mayor, you willingly stayed with our clergy group for well over an hour as we shared stories from our own lives and the lives of LGBTQ congregants. The clergy told Mayor Dyer that we believed he was being given this Fresno moment to model God's inclusive love. Mayor Dyer then did something I never anticipated. He showed a breathtaking emotional vulnerability. He cried. He wept in front of clergy, but clergy that he knew had been critical of him on many issues before this one. There was no political gain to be made here. This was just him being human. Mayor Dyer told us that he hadn't realized the depth of pain and exclusion so many LGBTQ people in Fresno feel. And he told us, and then the city, that he believed he was being called by God to love the LGBTQ community of Fresno. Mayor Dyer knew the blowback from his conservative supporters would be swift and fierce. He asked our group of LGBTQ-affirming clergy and several supportive community leaders to come stand with him at his press conference, where he, with passion, emotion, tears, and courage, humbled himself before this city, admitted he had been wrong, and declared that he was going to do the right thing and the LGBTQ pride flag would fly at City Hall. He then generously invited several of us to speak. After my brief words, in which I thanked Mayor Dyer for his courage and for not only saying he loved the LGBT community, but showing the city of Fresno this was true. And that's when it happened. As I ended my words, I turned, and after 14 months of socially distanced, hugless existence, without hesitation, I hugged Jerry Dyer. And he hugged me back. Mr. Mayor, you will always be my first pandemic hug. It was one of the most meaningful hugs of my life. In the subsequent days, Mayor Dyer said remarkable things. He told the LA Times that he had come to understand the pride flag as a symbol of hope, a symbol of inclusion, a symbol of being supported. He shared how unsettled he felt walking into his own evangelical Christian congregation the Sunday after that press conference, not knowing how his congregation was going to react. But then, remarkable, he realized that his fear was just a tiny taste of the level of fear many LGBTQ people feel walking into most churches in Fresno. He gathered together evangelical Christian pastors in the city and told them that they needed to speak about and treat the LGBTQ community more inclusively. He spoke openly, many places, about how, as police chief, he had looked at certain groups as problems to be solved. For instance, those who were homeless, women and girls who were being human trafficked, and portions of the LGBTQ community. He shared publicly how, as mayor, his perspective had changed. He said he now saw these groups not as problems, but as people. People he wanted to get to know. People he wanted to help. People he wanted to love. I heard him say publicly, I've had 3 changes of heart since becoming mayor. Changes of heart about the homeless, about women and children who are human trafficked, and now the LGBTQ community. And then he said, I can't wait to see who will be next. As we sang not too long ago, love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? This June, those words became a lived reality. Love did build a bridge, one constructed by the LGBTQ community of Fresno and you, Mayor Jerry Dyer. So I'm going to confess, totally up front, I didn't expect Mayor Dyer would change his mind on this pride flag issue. I figured, Mayor Dyer, you were too firmly conservative, Republican, and born-again Christian for you to change your mind. As I watched the mayor humble himself before the city, I had a painful realization. I realized I had been doing to Mayor Dyer the very same thing I expected him to do to me and other LGBTQ community. I had reduced the fullness of his humanity. I had reduced him to the aspects that I disagreed with. I had reduced him to the aspects I judged. In my mind, I had erased your heart, your ability to care, and your ability to change. I had reduced Mayor Dyer to, Troy, as you said in your reflection, a one-dimensional interpretation. I didn't see Mayor Dyer as a person, but as a problem. I wonder how often we, as religious liberals, have done the same thing to someone with religious or political views more conservative than ours, seen not a person, but a problem. As I watched Mayor Dyer being so fully human and vulnerable, loving and caring, and so Christian in the best sense of the word, I realized, in regards to Mayor Dyer, I was out of alignment with my Unitarian Universalist religious values. Unitarian Universalists are people who believe in the transforming power of love. That love compels us to see every person as having worth and dignity. It challenges us to see every person as having potential goodness within them. Unitarian Universalists also believe that everyone and everything is connected. And because of that connection, we believe that we have a sacred responsibility for everyone and everything on this planet. We must act towards everyone and everything with care, concern, and compassion. Unitarian Universalism teaches that we're stronger together than apart, and that we are called to be love's hands in the world. I like that, love's hands in the world. I had to admit that the only hands I had had for Mayor Dyer were the arm wrestling kind. Not hands connected to arms that expected to embrace someone I assumed thought so differently from me. The president of our National Unitarian Universalist Association, the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, writes, "We know that hurt moves through the world, perpetrated by action, inaction, and indifference. Our Unitarian Universalist values call us to live in the reality of the heartbreak of our world, remembering that no one is outside the circle of love. We know that things break or break down, promises, friendships, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our very institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes. Life is messy. With compassion as our guide, we seek the well-being of all people. We seek to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. We believe we're here to guide one another toward love, because no one is outside the circle of love. No matter how fractured we are or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at our core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live. No one is outside the circle of love. Can you say that with me? No one is outside the circle of love. In my heart, I had to admit that I had pushed Jerry Dyer outside the circle of my love. It took him inviting me into the circle of his love for me to realize how un-Unitarian Universalist I had become in relation to him. I wonder how many of us in these divided times are pushing those more conservative than us outside the circle of our love. That night, I reread a sermon I preached early on in the pandemic. I'd written, Unitarian Universalists believe that the purpose of religion is to expand the boundaries of our hearts so we can hold more and love more. I then turned to Mayor Dyer's beloved Christian scriptures and read in the Gospel of John Jesus' command to his followers on the night before he died. It's always been one of my favorite passages in the Bible, where Jesus says, I want to tell you something. I have a suggestion on how to live each day you have left in your life. Love one another. You must love one another. This is how everyone will recognize that you are walking in the way of goodness and truth when they see the love that you have for each other. Because a loveless world is not the world you want. Who have we left outside the circle of our love? I turn to a second passage from the Christian scriptures. Love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love rejoices in the truth. Love always protects. Again, the words of the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray. We believe we're here to guide one another toward love. No matter how fractured we are whole at our core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live. This doesn't mean we won't have major and critical differences with others who believe or think differently than us. But it changes the attitude and the energy we bring to the struggle. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. understood this well, and that was his power. It could be ours too. My spiritual friends, we live in fractured, divisive times, angry times. And I suspect that I'm not the only one here who has committed the unskillful act of othering someone more conservative than ourselves. Liberals often reduce those who are extremely conservative to, quoting Troy, a one-dimensional interpretation. The polarization in our country is terrifying, and the gulf between the left and the right feels insurmountable. To us, as religious liberals, so much is at stake. Voting rights and voting accessibility, democracy, truth itself. So much is at stake. A safety net for the poor, economic equity, healthy housing, immigration, health care, reproductive rights, police reform, the well-being of trans people, access to education, the very future of this planet amidst human-created climate change, and so much more. As the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray reminds us, as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. But dear ones, we must do this from a place of love, not from a place of judgment or superiority or arrogance or righteous indignation or hate. Not from a place that reduces the humanity of those we think or believe differently than we do. We must act from a place of love, humility, and attempted understanding. That's what I learned from my mayor, Mr. Dyer. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Everybody matters, no one falls between. At this table, you can say whatever. At this table, you can speak your mind. At this table, everything's forgiven. There's enough for everyone. So come as you are. Remember that the door is always open. Yes, come as you are. So come as you are. At this table, there will be no judgment. At this table, mercy has a seat. At this table, we're somebody's children. There's no place I'd rather be. So come as you are. Remember that the door is always open. At this table, everyone is welcome. At this table, everybody cares. At this table, everybody matters. So come, pull up a chair.
Hey, everybody. What's up? I'm Troy Polnitz. I serve gratefully as a member of the Board of Trustees and Worship's Art Team. I didn't wear my name badge, so I had to remind you who I am when I get up here. I always enjoy sharing with others how I'm involved with this church. It's not just a source of pride, but more importantly, it's a source of purpose. I've never been completely sold on the idea of effective leadership, whether it's been experiences with previous supervisors or those cookie-cutter leadership books. I've always thought good leadership could be debunked in one way or another. It wasn't until I learned how to serve gratefully that I realized that my idea of leadership was all wrong. My service started at Fresno State working with students with different abilities. That service has continued with my cultural responsiveness work with Fresno Unified. The pinnacle of that service-oriented leadership has occurred here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, also affectionately known as UU Fresno. The organic feedback and nourishment I receive in return when I serve this sanctuary is something that cannot be replicated. The financial support of this space is necessary and will only lead to a bigger and brighter future for UU Fresno. In this spirit, please join me in our words of offering. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Here is a slide showing you how you can make a financial contribution right now, or if you are on the Alluvial Avenue campus, you can always drop cash or a check into the basket on your way out of the sanctuary. We can't pass the basket because of the pandemic. Thank you in advance for saying yes. May this church continue to be worthy of many forms of your gifts. I cannot tell you how amazing it feels to be surrounded by such wholesome individuals such as yourselves. This congregation has been a true beacon of light during this pandemic, and that is all because of you and you being beacons of light in your own communities. When we join together, we undoubtedly shine brighter than the sun. That's exactly what a city like Fresno deserves to have in its midst. Thank you for shining, UU Fresno. As we prepare to end our service and enter into our afternoon, please join us in our chalice extinguishing words. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso, esos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. Here is a wave to everyone on our virtual campus. We hope to see you all next week. And Tim, I believe you have some reminders before our closing words.
I do, but first, again, let us give our appreciation to Mayor Dyer and his wife Diane. Thank you for being here. So just a few quick reminders. After church at 1 p.m., if you're on our virtual campus, we will be having our coffee hour at 1 p.m., and you can get the Zoom address on the screen right now. Here on this campus, the Alluvial Ave campus, we will be having community conversations. Since we're not doing coffee hour, it feels like everybody just runs to the parking lot. Don't lose the connection, so there's seats set up. You can sit down. There are a couple questions to talk about, and especially if you're new or newish, you get to meet some other folks, so I hope you will do that. Want to invite you to join me on Saturday, October 7th at 9 a.m. for the March for Reproductive Rights at the corner of Nees and Blackstone. We will be standing up against that insidious law in Texas. Now, I know you all want to know how to exit the sanctuary because safety is important. We're going to ask our socially distanced folks, you get to exit first. Then the rest of everybody can just cross this way and head out those doors. Remember, don't assume everybody wants your hug. As much as I loved hugging Mayor Dyer, ask permission before you give somebody a hug. Because we do want to respect, we all have different comfort levels during this pandemic. If you brought your kiddos with you today and want to take them home, we ask that you pick them up in the breezeway. Don't go on back into the grassy area. Last but not least, one of my favorite things of each service, we have a tradition that we like to welcome folks who are with us for the first, second, or third time. We don't do it to embarrass you, but really, it's a gorgeous, cool morning in Fresno. You could have been everywhere. You chose to be here, and we just want to share our appreciation. So if this is your first, second, or third time, we invite you to rise for just a moment. We won't leave you standing alone for long. So first, second, or third time, welcome back, Jamie. Welcome, good to have you. I invite the rest of the congregation to rise with them as Troy offers our closing words, and then we have our sung benediction.
Please place your hands over your precious beating heart as I offer closing words followed by our sung benediction. Our closing words are ones that have brought us comfort throughout this time of pandemic, racial reckoning, political division, and ongoing uncertainty. They are a reminder that there is more to this moment than all of that. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all that you love. There is a love holding all. You rest in this love. We rest in this love. Que así sea, bendito sea, may it be so, blessed be, amen.
May we have safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way, safe passage on your way, wanderer, safe passage on your way, searcher, safe passage on your way, sweet pilgrim, safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our
Shalom and assalamu alaikum.